Just like referees, John Pearson, former Sheffield Wednesday striker, and we're at Hillsborough to talk to him, knows what it's like to be in the front line and the firing line. John Pearson and referees, I think you got on pretty well, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't aggressive enough as a player. Probably, I probably caused the referee as many problems as a lot of the centre halves I played against. You know, not that many, but I'm thinking back to one incident that sticks out in my mind was when I was playing for Charlton, and Eddie May, who was the assistant manager. I don't think he really fancied me. He wanted me to be more aggressive, and but I think within 30 seconds. I think I knocked Mickey Droy out, and the other centre half, who was equally as supposedly tough. And I could see Eddie May on the touchline jump up and down. He was more excited than if I'd scored a hat-trick. So, but it was like completely accidental. It wasn't something I'd set out to do. It was, I was thinking, well, how's that happened? And I was a bit frightened of Mickey Droy and him coming up. And so I did have a word with him in the bar afterwards. But
who were you more frightened of, Mickey Droy or Eddie May?
yeah, they were both massive lads. But
Eddie May played centre half, of course.
Yeah.
So you were the classic gentle giant then?
Possibly, yeah. Like I say, it wasn't in my nature. I tried to do that, but I thought sometimes trying to be something that you're not probably took away from other aspects. So, yeah, all in all, I didn't, like I say, I wasn't getting sent off every week or anything like that.
Managers tried various techniques, didn't they, to instill a little bit of aggression in you?
Oh, you're referring to Howard Wilkinson incident, aren't you? I know exactly where you're coming from. Yeah, he did. I knew exactly what he was doing, though. See, he'd slapped me before the game. I think it was we played Coventry. I remember it because it was last time I scored for Wednesday. So he gave me a little slap before the game, but I knew what he wanted me to do. So I just laughed at him, and he did. So he did it again. But so I think it stunned the rest of the players more than myself. But,
was it quite a hard slap?
It was quite hard, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, I loved Howard Wilkinson, though. I love him, so, yeah.
So he did it once. You thought it was funny.
No, I started laughing because I knew he wanted me to react, and I wasn't going to react. I wasn't going to give him the pleasure of... he wanted me to react.
Yeah. And when he did it the second time, and it stung a bit this time, did that annoy you?
But I didn't want to play his game. It was a psychological game. I knew what he was doing and what he wanted me to do. I wasn't going to do it, so it was psychological. Yeah.
Do you share a joke about this now when you see Wilco?
To be honest, you've just brought it up now. It's just brought it back. So next time I see him, I might give him one back.
Have you ever seen a manager do anything similar to galvanise a player before a game?
Not before a game. I've seen fights in dressing rooms at half time, and you know, managers, players, and Wilco was the original cup thrower. You know, I mean, one of the funniest things was when he was at Leeds as well. We played Watford, and he came in and he went absolutely berserk. And there was a kit bag on the floor, and he booted it, and there must have been something really hard in it, and he nearly broke his foot. So we were all, it all ended there because everybody collapsed laughing. Yeah. So he couldn't give us a rollicking.
Anyway, you've described your style as a player. You try to be fair, if at all possible, but because of the size that you are, the position that you played as a target man, you were involved, well, 50% at least of your football was played in the air. Is that a fair comment?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think football's changed now. There's not so many big target men playing now. You look at Carroll in the Premiership, who I think is an excellent player, Peter Crouch at Stoke, who's also an excellent player and had great careers, but not every team's got that kind of player now.
No, it's a different way of playing, and the bullet headers of a ball that you used to find, they're not in the game, are they?
No. I mean, even the big players now are trying to bring the ball down and, you know, use their feet, which, you know, I always like to think that I could have a ball pinged at me and I could bring it down and, you know, bring other people into the game. But, I mean, that's probably more relevant now than it was then.
But still in the game, there's something that irritates me and always has done, in that two big guys go up for a ball, and so often a referee will find a foul in there as they buffet each other, and it breaks the flow of the game up. Sometimes, of course, there is a bad foul, an elbow or whatever, but there seems to be too many infringements for me. Did you?
I think the flow of the game is interrupted a lot more, isn't it? You know, like you say, when you go up, or if there's a corner and people are challenging in the air, there's always going to be shirt pulling. There's always going to be a little bit of this and that. And I think as a player, players accept it. You know, and players accept that they've got to like try and push somebody away or get away from somebody. But referees don't now. I mean, the normal thing now, even before a corner's taken, is to go and have a word with everybody and say you can't do this, you can't do that.
But we think on the side that the shirt pulling, or grappling as we call it, is totally unnecessary. And if a referee awarded a penalty, it would stop it.
I think there's a lot of things that could be stopped by doing that. Like you said, you know, if we've just had recently those incidents where penalties have been given. So I'm sure that those defenders next time are going to think twice about whether or not they're going to grab all the shirts. So if they started giving more penalties, that'd kill that off. I mean, the biggest bugbear for me is the diving. And I can't understand. I mean, I'm not blaming referees. I think it's an impossible task they've got now. You know, how do you tell somebody's dived? How do you tell whether or not it is, you know, somebody's genuinely being tackled and it is a foul? You know, but why not get a panel on a Monday and ban players for 6 games? Simple. You know, once they've been banned for 6 games and the star player and whatever, they're out for 6 weeks. They've let the team down. They've let the mates down, crowd down. They don't play for 6 weeks. They'd soon cut it out.
Isn't there a responsibility within football clubs and dressing rooms for managers to stop it at source and say to players, look, if I see you diving, I'm fining you?
What I'm always surprised about is when you're watching football on television now, managers will condemn the other side. You know, that player's dived, everybody's seen it's a dive. So that tape should be kept for next time his player dives and go back, you know, how did you condemn your player? You know, what did you say to your player? So I think there's a responsibility from everybody.
I wasn't talking so much about the penalty area stuff when I was mentioning the aerial combat as, say, sometimes even on the halfway line, those routine challenges, 2 players rising together. Isn't it inevitable that you're going to get some contact? Yeah,
I mean, football is a contact game, and the trouble is I think it's getting less and less, you know, and we're stopping that physical contact. And you're right, yeah. You know, anywhere on the pitch, I think if you're jumping for a ball, then you've got to raise your arms. You've got to put your arms in the air. And I think a player will accept being genuinely injured, if it was a genuine challenge. You know,
do you think most challenges are genuine, or do you think there's something cynical going on when people are climbing for the ball?
I think there's a lot of cheating that goes on now. I think that people get away with cheating. I can only go back to when I was playing. I think there was more, 9 times out of 10, it was genuine.
And you mentioned the cheating. Foreigners, rightly or wrongly, get blamed for that, having brought this culture into the game. But perhaps the most alarming thing this season is we've seen several English players do it.
I hate it. Absolutely hate it. I think it completely spoils the game. It needs stamping out. I mean, You've seen, I think it was Barkley the other week. I mean, Ross Barkley shouldn't even be in his.
Seen Gary Cahill, a centre half, even.
I missed that one. But Gary Cahill, I mean, you would never think, would you, Gary Cahill?
No, you wouldn't. It strikes me whenever I see games lower down, Leagues 1 and 2, the lower you get, the more honest the players seem to be.
Seems to be, yeah. There seems like that sort of old camaraderie, sort of probably a little bit more respect for your opponent. I mean, I think we did everything we possibly could to win a football match. We probably went to that line and even crossed that line. But nowadays, that line sometimes is completely rubbed out.
What about refereeing? How has that changed?
I think it is 100 times harder to be a referee today. There's a million cameras around, and you know, and I think that the time will come when the managers will get a buzzer, and there will be a 4th official in the stand, and you know, like they do in cricket. And they might get a shout each half, both managers. But I think for me, the way you don't have to stop the game. You know, if a manager presses a buzzer because he thinks it's been a penalty and it goes upstairs to the 4th official, the game could carry on. And if it's not, and if the 4th official upstairs buzzes the referee and he goes, that was a penalty, you've got to take the game back 3 minutes. So he adds 3 minutes on, you know, however long it's taken him. And then there's a penalty.
What would be even better, perhaps, is the extra official in the stand can see whether things are right or wrong within a few seconds. Not wait for a buzzer from a manager or an appeal, just simply quietly correct it by communicating with the referee.
Yeah, but you've got to be careful, like we were saying before, about people using that as a tactic. You know, later on, if your team's getting stormed and you want to stop the game, and so I think you've got to be very careful because teams do build up a lot of pressure on teams, especially if you're fighting to get that goal back in the last few minutes. So you don't want a manager pressing that button or stopping the game having an incident reviewed or something like that. That becomes a tactic.
John, thanks very much indeed. Enjoyed that. Thank you.